The university recognises outstanding individuals who have contributed to society and their professions. We do this through giving honorary awards. Today, we will recognise one of these people. Vice-Chancellor. It was unanimously resolved by the Senate and the Council of the University of Bradford to confer an honorary degree of Doctor of the University upon Jabbar Sardar. Professor Amir Sharif will present the candidate. Professor Sharif.
Thank you. Vice-Chancellor, I'd like you to picture a scene. A lone figure stands in front, surrounded by towering buildings, clutching a piece of paper. As a camera zooms in closer, we start to focus on the figure's face, a man who has a subtle expression of determination and resilience, and the camera zooms into the written words on a piece of paper in his hand. Change, innovation, diversity, and inclusion. The camera zooms back onto his face, revealing a faint glimmer of a smile, and a steely determination in the eyes intensifies, radiating resilience. Now, does that sound dramatic? Does it sound like a film? Yeah? Well, that's the kind of world that our honorary graduate comes from. So, even though that's a scene that might describe a scene from a movie or a drama, this is about the world of TV, film, and production. But who am I referring to? I am, of course, referring to our honorary graduate today, Jabbar Sardar. Now, notwithstanding our own amazing talent in terms of our Chancellor, Anita Rani, we do have another talented person with us today. And Jabbar is the Global HR Director of BBC Studios, which is the commercial arm of the BBC that produces and distributes creative content all around the world. Now, I do have to hasten to add that Jabbar is not responsible for the talent that's in front of the camera, but he's responsible for the talent that's behind the camera. And as he has said several times to me and colleagues, in his own words, I'm responsible for the people who make things work. They're the real stars, the people who man the studios, who are the camera people, the studio talent, all of those 6,000 employees, staff and freelancers across 16 countries. That's quite a responsibility, as I'm sure you'll agree. So Jabbar joined the BBC in January 2016 and reporting into the CEO of BBC Studios and BBC Group HR Director. A dynamic and driven individual, he's also a member of the BBC Studios executive team and a member of the Pan-BBC HR leadership team and chair of the BBC Studios Pay Committee. So he's quite powerful. But individually, he is passionate about the BBC. And again, to quote Jabbar, he says, "The creative area I work in reaches every single member of our society, where the BBC has a responsibility to inform, educate, and entertain." Jabbar continues, "We need to ensure that the HR profession becomes a great enabler to support that." And I firmly believe that HR is about enabling people and bringing out the very best in them, and achieving that cultural change excites me. And you'll hear now very briefly, his background is certainly all about enabling change and supporting others to their fullest extent. So whilst at the BBC, he's brought together two diverse organisations, BBC Worldwide, BBC Studios, into a single entity. And those of you who know the BBC know it's a huge organisation, globally distributed. He's led in terms of diversity and inclusion, changing culture, changing people's behaviours for the better. And during COVID, he led on several initiatives to help those in the industry in a very difficult period of the world, setting up a £700,000 donation to the film industry charities to support those out of work due to COVID, including 24/7 mental health support. Again, there's a story here about caring for others and service to others, which is the hallmark of Jabbar's work. And before joining the BBC, Jabbar worked for CAFCAS, which is the Children and Family Court Advisory Service. Again, Director of HR and Organisational Development, where he led a trailblazing transformational change program culminating in 2014 being recognised by Ofsted as good with outstanding leadership. Amazing achievement. And his interests actually remain quite wide, again helping others, serving communities, and being there as a beacon of leadership. Trustee for Citizens Advice, and he's also on the steering group for the Employers Initiative on Domestic Abuse. He mixes this with an avid love of reading, writing, and travelling the world, and I know he's just come back with his family recently from overseas as well, so that's very much the case. But what has made Jabbar the person he is today? Well, there is a Bradford story here. Because Jabbar was born and raised in Bradford, in fact not too far from here on Great Horton Road, and then after that in Lidget Green. So very much a Bradford success story. So he knows our city environment very well. And indeed, even though he now travels the world for his job and for his role, he still resides in Bradford. He still resides in the region, not too very far from here. So in many ways, the world of HR, Bradford, West Yorkshire, our community is very much in his blood, very much in his actions, and you'll hear more from him shortly. But it's even closer than that to us here at University of Bradford. He was actually an employee of University of Bradford in our HR department between 1990 and 1999. So he really knows our university very well. He then went to Leeds City Council, working in education Leeds, and then he came back on this very stage, actually, in 2006 to get his MBA, which is a great achievement, and we were talking about that earlier. That story with University of Bradford continues, and in 2017, he joined our International Advisory Board for our world-renowned School of Management, and he was instrumental in working with the Dean at that time, our very own Professor Honorary, who's now our DVC, in order to take the School of Management forward into the even higher successes it is today. About his work with the university, he says fondly, "I'm really proud about my connections with the university. Being an ambassador for the excellent work you do and the City of Bradford with employers is important in preparing students," that means you, graduates, "for the modern world." He's also been nominated several times for so many awards: HR Director of the Year, 2011, 2013, 2014, and for the past 7 years been voted as one of the most influential directors, HR directors in the UK by HR Magazine, being 9th in 2019-21. The accolades go on, and he was most well known for his contributions to the HR world in practice, in advice, in support, and in leadership as well. So he's led many initiatives there, lots of work with public organisations, and he's a prime example of leadership, care, and service for others, celebrating difference in an inclusive manner. Because that's what University of Bradford is all about. Inclusion, diversity, innovation, trust, and excellence, exemplified in our honorary graduate here today. So, and I will end now, in concluding, what advice does Jabbar have? And I'm sure he will give you some of his advice shortly as well. Well, I think the hallmarks are there in the things that I've already said, and in the actions and the track record that Jabbar has, so I won't steal his thunder. But I hope that you too, graduates, can make your life story as impactful and as powerful as Jabbar. So, Vice-Chancellor, in recognition of his outstanding contribution to the awareness of inclusion and diversity through his professional life and beyond the remit of his role, and as an alumnus who has achieved significant levels of success in his chosen field, I have great pleasure in presenting to you for the honorary degree of Doctor of the University, Jabbar Sardar.
Congratulations. By the authority vested in me, I admit you to the Doctor of the University of Bradford. Congratulations and welcome to the Team Bradford family.
Good morning, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, graduates, friends and family. As a Bradford boy, it's incredibly a sort of proud moment for me to receive this honorary doctorate degree. The university has always been close to my heart. I started my professional journey here in 1990. I attained my MBA in 2006. And as Amir said, I was chair of the International Advisory Board at the School of Management at a time of significant change. There are many people I want to thank for being here, people who have supported me throughout my life. The most important of those, my wife, my daughter, and my son, are here today, and thank you for believing and supporting my journey. Sat where you are now, I'm sure you are feeling a mixture of emotions. Many of these will be in direct contrast to one another. You may be feeling nervous, but also excitement. You may be feeling a sense of sadness that your time at university is coming to an end, but also happiness when you think about what you have achieved. You may also feel uncertain about the new world and what lies ahead of you. But I'm here to tell you, it is a world full of opportunities for you to seize. I've come to realize that opportunities are the catalyst to growth, both personally and professionally. When I was in your shoes and starting my career, I was told my career journey would be a linear one. But honestly, in reality, it's more like snakes and ladders. The tricky thing is, how do you know if an opportunity is a ladder or a snake? So here are my 3 key elements to identify a ladder. Firstly, knowing what you want to achieve in your career is critical. So ask yourself, does the opportunity get me closer to my aspirations? Secondly, does the company offering me the opportunity have values and a purpose that align with my own aspirations? And finally, within that company, are there people who will be leading me, who will push me closer to my aspirations? I have been incredibly fortunate in my career to work with some great leaders. And here's how you identify one. They believe in you, they give you opportunities for growth, and they push you to achieve your goals. That is what took me from a regional role to a national role in 2006, and 10 years later, from that national role to a global role. So what happens if you take an opportunity that turns out to be a snake? Go back to the first point I made. Know what it is that you want, and be bold and brave and search for a new opportunity. If you are stood here in 20 to 30 years' time, what story would you want to tell your friends and family? You have an opportunity to make a real difference, and that opportunity starts now. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you all have an amazing, memorable, and fantastic day.